I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play Zeri like a god. We're going to be going over all the abilities, all the combos, how you should draft the champion, how you should trade with the champion, and how you should team fight with the champion. We're going to literally cover every single thing, so let's get right on into it. Alright guys, we're going to be going over the passive and the abilities first, so let's talk about Zeri's passive. So Zeri's passive is called Living Battery. Zeri shields herself for 60% of the damage she deals to shields, and gains 15% movement speed for 3 seconds when shielded. So basically what this means is she can steal the enemy's shield and she can get movement speed when she is shielded. So to demonstrate this, I'm gonna have Lulu buff herself really quick. Boom. And now look at this. I'm stealing her shield and now I have movement speed. That is Zeri's passive. Alright, now that we covered the passive, let's get into Zeri's first ability. So Zeri's first ability is Electrocute, and this is probably the most broken part of her kit, really. So Zeri, the passive of Electrocute, Zeri attack fires a burst of 6 rounds in a target direction. This is basically her auto attacks. So you deal 372 physical damage to the first enemy hit. Zeri's attack speed has a maximum of 1.5 seconds attacks per second. 50% of attack speed in excess of the cap is converted into bonus attack damage. The active of this ability is Zeri zaps target location, dealing 433 magic damage and slowing them by 26% for 2 seconds. So this is really nice because it deals damage and slows at the same time, and it also talks about your auto attacks. So let's cover the auto attacks, guys. So this is the passive of the first ability. So you're just auto attacking, right? It's fairly simple. You can also aim where you're auto attacking, right? This is really important to know because sometimes you're gonna have to manually choose who you want to hit, right? Because if there's a bunch of people and you want to hit this person, you got to go over there, right? You got to switch it. One way you could tell where your Zeri auto attacks are going to go is with that little circle. Do you guys see this little circle underneath the dummies? So depending on where I'm standing, it'll choose the target. So let's say I go near, like, see the scuttle, I'm going to have to aim for it, right? But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind with the auto attacks. But yeah, you can aim the auto attacks anywhere. And also, if you're in a certain position, you can hit 2 people at one time without even using your third skill. So just a little bit of knowledge on the passive for the auto attacks. It's very interesting, and it's just the normal auto attacks. Now to get into the zap is a normal ability that you can cast. Boom, it just zaps them. It literally zaps them and slows them, right? That's literally all it is. So it'll do some damage and it'll slow them. The reason why the slow is important is so that Zeri can actually land the auto attacks, because you can run away from Zeri's auto attacks. So the zap just allows you to slow and land your auto attack. So boom, simple as that. That is the first ability. Now the second ability, Ultra Shock Laser. Zeri fires out an electrical pulse that deals 409 magical damage to the first unit hit, slowing by 45% for 2 seconds. If the pulse hits a wall, it expands into a long-range laser, applying the effects in an area, crit champions and monsters. So this is very interesting. This ability is actually quite important as well. So if you just throw it out, it's a normal, it's basically a zap in its own way, but they call it a laser. So it's just a laser. It slows and it deals some damage, right? And so yeah, but the important thing to note is when you do it through a wall, it is much stronger. Look at that damage, much stronger. And if we hit it here, boom, it is so much stronger, and you could hit multiple targets. So this is a very important ability. The best tips I could tell you for this ability, guys, is you want to make sure you use it off the walls. I'm going to show you guys a really disgusting combination later that you guys can do in the combos part that will allow you to land this more often. Okay, so that's important to know. Next up, Spark Surge. Zeri dashes a short distance and loads up lightning rounds for 6 seconds, empowering the next 3 attacks to pierce, dealing 95% damage to targets after the first hit. Hitting a champion with an auto attack reduces this ability cooldown by 1 second. If Zeri touches a wall while dashing, she will vault over it.
greatly extending the dash range. Okay, so yeah, let me explain this, guys, before dealing the damage. So actually, I'll show you guys how the damage works. So here's a normal auto attack, right? But when you use the Spark Surge, look, you can now hit everything. You could hit multiple targets at once. You just get 3 auto attacks, 3 empowered auto attacks that pierce. This also goes through the minion waves. So if you need to trade through the minion wave, you use this ability to trade through it. So that's one part. Now, to also keep in mind, it's kind of like a Lucian dash, right? You can dash you can dash on the sides of things. But one thing to note on how it's different than a Lucian dash is it's a long freaking cooldown. 18 seconds, and if you auto attack 3 times, it'll lower by basically 3 seconds. But so here is the small range of the dash, right? But if you're trying to do a long range dash, if you're dashing on a wall, it will take you. You see this arrow? I can make the dash tight, and I can make the dash long. It's just how you want to choose to vault over the walls. Now, a little tip, guys, is let's say you're in lane, you're fighting, and someone's trying to gank you. You want to go off the walls, and you could get safe. Like, you don't want to, if let's say Lee Sin's ganking you, don't panic and dash like this. You're going to walk up to the wall and vault it and just ride along the wall into safety. So that's one way to use that ability. But yeah, so it gives you piercing auto attacks, 3 of them, and it allows you to dash and vault over walls. So now we have the last ability, Lightning Crash, which Zeri discharges a nova of electricity, dealing 404 magic damage to all enemies nearby and gaining 8 stacks of overcharge for each champion hit for 10 seconds. While overcharged, Zeri gains movement speed, attack speed, bonus AP damage, and her auto attacks become buffed as well. Hitting an enemy champion with an attack or ability adds 1 stack of overcharge. Takedowns increase its duration by 4 seconds. Very important to keep that in mind, right? So just to showcase this ability, when you ult multiple targets, you get your Overlord, which is your charges, and if you keep auto attacking using abilities, you will be able to stack your charges, allowing you to deal way more damage and have way more auto attack speed. And that's basically how the ultimate works. It just makes you overcharged. It makes you more powerful, makes you stronger, it makes your DPS higher. It makes your movement speed faster, so it's easier for you to land your auto attacks. And the most important part is you want to make sure you use your ultimate to get a kill so that your ultimate lasts even longer. So you want to make sure you reset the ultimate in team fights. But that is basically the passive and the abilities explained. So now let's get into some combos that you could do with Zeri. First off, we're going to be talking about the flash combinations. You cannot flash your first ability at all, okay, guys? So if you want to zap someone, you have to flash and then zap, okay? You cannot have your zap lined up and trying to do it. It does not work. Another thing to note with the flash W, it does not follow you. So if I am right here and I try to flash the ability, it doesn't work like that. So how can you use this to advantage? Let's say you want to get into a safe position. You can flash away while dealing the damage. So that's nice. And also, let's say you want to hit someone over here. It doesn't work. You cannot flash the ability forward at all. So don't try doing that because you will look really dumb trying to do that. So you cannot do that. Now, can you dash flash? Yes, you can. You can definitely do that. Can you ult flash? Yes, you can. So you could definitely ult flash. It is very, very good to do. In certain situations, just ult flashing can really help you with your plays. So I definitely recommend using that. Now, the most important combination that you could do with Zeri is the EW combination. Your third skill comboed with your second skill. It is absolutely broken, and this will change your life with Zeri. Now, how does this mean? You basically dash and use your W through the wall. So whenever you use your second ability while vaulting, it will always be empowered. So how can you use this in really creative ways? Let's say you're trying to run away. You can use it when you're going into a fight, you could use it. I mean, it's just it's so versatile, guys. Like, boom, boom. And guys, the best thing is you want to use auto aim, guys. Do not try to aim it yourself. Just use auto aim. It is so good. Now, boom. It just really helps with your damage. Now, it is a little bit slower, right? So using your dash and then Wing is a little bit slower. So another combination you can do is you use your W and then dash over the wall. It's just it's much quicker compared to EWing, but it's still good either way. So that's just a little combo that you guys could do, but make sure you guys start practicing this combination right here because it's actually very OP to do. So Zeri's combos are all pretty fairly easy. I'm going to show you one more combination that you could do, and this will be in lane. So let's say you want to full box someone. You want to just hop on them and kill them. You're going to W, E forward, and then Q, okay? So you're going to W, W, E, Q. Just like that. That is basically the most important combination that you could know. Because if you dash and then E, it's just a little bit slower because you could dash and E at this, you could dash and W at the same time, like that, instead of going like this, okay? So definitely use your W before dashing because it'll allow you to just be quicker, and then you follow up with the zap, and that's a lot of slow that you're getting. Now let me show you guys one more all-in combination. You're going to be using the W. You're going to be using the WE, but you're going to be comboing it with the ultimate like this. And this is basically your full damage combination. Now, you can actually do it one more way, which is actually using the wall right here. Is you WE ult and then you Q, and that's your full damage combination right there. So Zeri's combos are all fairly easy to do, and she's pretty straightforward. So with that, guys, we're going to be going in on how you actually draft this champion. All right, guys, so now let's talk about champions you want to pick Zeri into and with. So first, we're going to be starting with champions that you want to pick Zeri with. So Zeri is extremely good with Yuumi and Lulu. They give her the best buffs. They give her shields, which gives her movement speed, which means she's able to deal more damage because she's able to land more auto attacks, and she's just super strong with these two enchanters. Now she's also very good with Karma, Janet, and Nami because they also give good shields and give her movement speed, and they also allow her to be a lot stronger in lane because the laning phase is probably the most tricky part about playing Zeri. Because that's where you're either going to lose or kind of win the game. Now, the next type of supports that you can play Zeri with is Nautilus, Rakan, Alistar. So these are engaging champions, which allow Zeri to follow up with and deal damage. It's a little bit of a different playstyle because with enchanters, you're kind of just doing the damage on your own and you're not getting any setup. But with engaged supports, you get the setup, but you don't get the buffs like the shields. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, in D tier, basically, I put Sona and Seraphine. Sona and Seraphine also buff Zeri because they give her shields, which means movement speed and damage. But Sona and Seraphine are really weak, so I don't really like playing Zeri with them, but you still can. So these are the type of champions you want to pick Zeri with. For example, you don't want to go Zeri and Braum. You don't want to go Zeri and Thresh, right? You want to go Thresh with an aggressive ADC. So just, I would follow this type of list for the champions to pick Zeri with. Now, a funny thing that you could do, guys, is you can pick Zeri, okay? So now, when do you want to pick Zeri against an enemy team composition? If the enemy team has a bunch of shields, you want to take Zeri. So if Zeri's against Shen, Zeri's against these enchanters, you could play Zeri against Karma because you steal the Karma shield. The more shields the enemy team has, the better Zeri is. So if the enemy team picks Janna, what do you want to take? You want to take Zeri because Zeri can steal that big Janna shield. So Zeri is very good against a bunch of shielding champions, and Zeri's also very good in laning phases where she doesn't get punished. So you want to pick Zeri into champions like Vayne, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Jinx,
who aren't very lane dominant, because then you're able to just scale out of the lane and win team fights because you're strong and not behind. So that's basically how you want to draft Zeri in your rank games. So with that, guys, we're going to be going over some laning phases on how you can play Zeri. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, make sure to give this video a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Let's get right back into the action. Okay, guys, we are now taking a look at a laning phase. So we're playing Zeri Blitzcrank against a Gragas Tristana. Now, Tristana and Zeri are both late game scaling ADCs, and Gragas is a good tank against Blitzcrank. So this is a bit of an even lane matchup. Now, I didn't put Blitzcrank as a champion you want to play Zeri with because Blitzcrank is a bit of a wild card, and it's kind of hard to tell whether you're gonna if it's gonna work out or not. But it is what it is. So right here, you know, we're just clearing the wave, taking things slow. So the way you want to trade with Zeri is by using your zap and your auto attack. So right here, Tristana placed the bomb on me, so I use my exhaust right away to kind of block that damage. Now with Zeri, what you want to do is proc their bone plating with your first ability, because that'll allow the next trade to be a lot better. But right here, the enemy team's just consistently shoving the wave in. We're staying pushed up so that they don't take our pink ward out. As you can see, it's kind of annoying to kind of clear minions, but if you also notice, the Sweet Tooth already gave us a bunch of value. We got 45 extra gold, and it healed us a lot more. So right here, you know, I'm kind of spacing out that Gragas Q, and we're just chilling. I look in for my zap, proc both bone platings, if you notice right there, and walk away. You want to play your range. Right here, Blitzcrank pulls in the Gragas, I dash back, and I just get my auto attacks in. That was a beautiful trade right there. Blitzcrank, you can use the relic to proc the proc on the cannon. We look for another trade. Now the thing is I had to get one minion that was low right there, so I couldn't fully commit on the Gragas. But as you can see, now we're in a bit of a good position. We're playing with our support here, right? So you're gonna have multiple different supports that will be your win condition. Oh guys, look at this. So my teammate decides to gank. I do the EW over the wall, and it was not enough to kill Lee Sin, sadly. But we had to go give it a try, right? So right here, we're just still taking it slow. You know, as Zeri, your goal isn't to always win lane. You just want to make sure you're farming. So right now, what's happening? Okay, we did some damage to the enemy. We almost killed the jungler, and we're CSing pretty well. We also took our fruit, so we're just in a fantastic position. So right here, we have to stay one more wave because it is the cannon wave. Now the thing is with Gragas has a lot of poke and sustain, and that's what makes him really strong. Right here, if you notice, I'm trying to kind of get the empowered W through the wall there, but I have to be extremely careful because they do out sustain us. Now right here, our Vi is going in, and so I try to follow up. Tristana jumps away, and this is where things get a little tight, right? Because it is a gank, and the gank goes wrong for us. Tristana actually gets the kill, but look at Tristana getting saved like that by the freaking Gragas ult. But look at this, guys. Boom, the empowered W gets me to the kill. Make sure to use that. Okay, now we're looking at a play that I made killing Tristana. So right there, I use my zap to proc his bone plating, and then I take a full-on trade. Look at this. W, dash forward, exhaust. I hold my ultimate until the jump gets away, and boom, I get the kill. That's a nice way to kind of full combo the enemy ADC in lane, and that's an example of being able to play Zeri aggressively. All you got to do is zap, take the bone plating, and then when the enemy ADC moves far up enough, you WE forward and full kill. Right here, the Asol tries to gank, but it doesn't work out, and that's another kill in my pocket. So with that, that's how you play Zeri in the lane, and we're going to take a look at some team fights with Zeri. Okay, so right here, we finished clearing the wave. They end up kind of bush camping us here, and I use the dash to get to a safe position. You guys need to make sure to do that. Now I wait for my support to make the play. The support ends up pulling in the Amumu, and I'm just sitting and auto attacking. I make sure that I land my ultimate because that will give me the extra movement speed, attack damage that I will need to get the kills. Boom, I go into Sona and Amumu. Amumu ended up living. Now we're back at the dragon fight again, and basically what you want to do with Zeri is just wait for your teammates to do the fighting for you in the beginning. Right here, Sona gets pulled in. I'm waiting for my team to set up the play. Boom, sets it up with a perfect CC chain. We get all the kills, and this is great because now we got an early game advantage. Now we're going to be taking a look at another dragon fight here, which was a lot harder to kind of win. So right here, I'm playing it at my max range, right? I'm landing my zap, I'm landing my auto attacks, and Olaf goes on to me. I hit him with the ultimate exhaust, Vayne flashes forward, and I'm just hitting at my max range, right? I'm not getting too close. I'm just auto attacking, letting my teammates frontline for me. This is very important. Let your teammates frontline for you, because the more damage they soak up, the more damage you can deal over time. Boom. We take over Swain. Perfect fight. Perfect. Now we're taking a look at a little bit of a 1v1 here. Boom, we hop right onto the Kai'Sa with the EW. And look, she uses her ultimate and barrier, and I just eat that up. It's just that easy, man. We're now completely fed, and we won the easiest 1v1. Here's another EW combo that I'm talking about. Boom. Look at that damage through the wall. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's just so much damage, and it's just such an important combination that you guys really need to start trying in your games. Boom, I flashed the Amumu ult, and look at this. I'm just kiting them out, keep playing it slow. The Singe decides to over chase us, and I'm able to secure the kill. Now, right here, we're going to be taking a look at another important team fight. We EW through the wall again, just auto-attacking the front line. I make sure to ult Ornn, and now look at my zap damage, man. I know that this is perfectly fine. Those shields don't scare me because I'm stealing it. And look at this. Look how much damage I do. Boom, boom, boom. It's just so easy when you let your teammates frontline and you play at your range, landing all your abilities. Make sure to land your ultimate, guys, because that's your main source of damage. Right here is another team fight where I'm taking it slow. I'm letting my teammates frontline. Look at this. Boom. I'm just auto-attacking, stacking my lethal tempo. Right here, Olaf engages on me, so I have to use my stasis defensively. I use my ultimate right out when I come out of stasis, and I just auto-attack. I'm not going too crazy, guys. Look at the way I'm holding onto my abilities, making sure I'm getting ready to go execute them. I flash forward. I use my Empower W to slow Ornn and deal extra damage, and then I secure the kill. Now, right here, guys, this is how you could get a freaking Penta with Zeri. We're going to need to take it extremely slow right here, okay? Because we see the whole enemy team. So I'm just auto-attacking who I can. I'm not overextending. I'm not dashing in, guys. Just look at this. I'm taking it slow. Right when I see the opportunity to kill Kale, I use my ultimate. Boom. I get the ult. Now I'm walking kind of forward, hitting some extra zaps, flash forward onto the Karma. I see freaking the rest of them, and I just auto-attack away, man. Boom. That's how you get the freaking Penta, by just taking it nice and freaking slow. Guys, I'm now going to be showing you what your Zeri loadout should look like. So first, let's get right on into the items. So for the items, you're going to want to go Immortal Shield Bow first. It is a very powerful item. It gives you a lifeline. It gives you attack damage, crit, attack speed, physical vamp. All these are awesome for Zeri, especially once the lifeline procs, guys. That barrier that you're going to get is going to help with your living battery passive, which gives you extra movement speed. So it's just a really great first item. Now, next up, you're going to want to go Phantom Dancer. Phantom Dancer gives you a bunch of attack speed and movement speed and crit. So what makes this item so good for Zeri, besides the attack speed, is the movement speed. It's very hard to land Zeri's auto attack. So having extra movement speed allows you to do more damage in teamfights because you'll land auto attacks because you can run faster than the enemy. After that, you're going to want to go Red Boots because you're going to be stacking Omni Vamp, which will give you a lot of healing. And usually you're going to go into either Stasis or QSS, but usually you're going to be building into Stasis. Now after that, you're going to go Infinity Edge because you want your crits to do a lot more damage, and IE is basically a must-go for all crit builds. Now right after that, right after IE, this is where it gets a little bit complex because you have two pathways you can go. So if you want to be extremely greedy like me, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go Bloodthirster and then Mortal Reminder. Okay? So this is a really greedy build because you're going 5 damage items. So you're going 4 full crit items with different passives, and then you're going to need to have a armor penetration item no matter what. So that will be Mortal Reminder. So this is the greedy build. What you get with this build is a lot more damage and a lot more healing. Now let me show you the less greedy build path, the more safer build path. So if you want a little bit of safer build path, then what you'll go is Lord Doms, because that will give you the extra 25% crit that you need for 100% crit. And it'll also give you attack damage. But basically you'll have 100% crit with armor penetration. So what will be your last item? It will be Guardian Angel, so you'll have an extra protection layer besides the stasis. And that's what makes this build a lot less greedier. So it is up to you what you want to run, but those are the two build paths that I recommend. Now for the runes,
I got you guys a little something. So the most greedy set of runes you could possibly go is Lethal Tempo, Hunter Vampirism, Bone Plating, and Nimbus Cloak. This is the most greedy runes you could do on Zeri. So what are the different options? So there's many different options. Okay, so you're going to need to have Lethal Tempo no matter what. There's no switching that. But for the next set of runes, this is where a lot of the switching happens. So Hunter Vampirism is very good if you want to scale much better into late game and just be super greedy. Now, if you want a rune that makes you extremely strong in the early game, and this is a rune I use a lot, it is Brutal. Brutal is extremely good. What it does is it gives you 12 to 19 bonus adaptive damage on hit against champions only. So in the early game, your lane trades are better. Your early game team fights, you're much stronger. And it's just extremely nice. I use Brutal the most often, okay, compared to the other runes. Now, lastly, a really OP rune on Zeri is Giant Slayer. You will shred tanks. So if you're against a bunch of champions on the enemy team that build bonus health, which is like, for example, the Relic gives bonus health, the Black Cleaver, Trinity Force, like any item that gives bonus HP, you will do bonus damage to them. So this is a very underutilized rune, but it's extremely broken in competitive play. Almost every single ADC goes Giant Slayer in high elo games. It's very, very good, but I recommend you guys to stick with Brutal and Hunter Vampirism, and situationally, when you're against a tanky, beefy comp, go Giant Slayer, okay? Now, for the runes, you could switch up. The only thing you could go is Perseverance, sorry, I completely butchered that. But you could go this rune because it gives you tenacity and it gives you armor or armor and magic resistance when you are immobilized. So this is a greedy rune as well, but you can run it. I mean, another super greedy rune you could go is Ultimate Shield. Ultimate Shield does work well with Zeri because your ultimate, if you use your ultimate, it'll give you shield, which allows you to move quicker, and it'll help your survivability and your durability in team fights. But it's an extremely greedy rune because Bone Plating's so broken right now, so I recommend you to run Bone Plating. Now, lastly, you're either going to run Nimbus Cloak or Sweet Tooth. I recommend Sweet Tooth. You get an extra 45 gold every time you take fruits on the map. It's really broken because it allows you to really survive extremely tough lanes, because the laning phase is the hardest part with Zeri, and once you get out of it, you're gonna completely dominate. So I recommend you guys to go Sweet Tooth, and if not, you think you're the GOAT, then go Nimbus Cloak, because having that extra movement speed is really beneficial. Now, lastly, for the spells, you got some options. So you're going to 100% need Flash, okay? You guys are going to 100% need Flash. So what is the other things you could do? Either you're going to go Exhaust. Exhaust, what's really nice about Exhaust is that if you're in a 1v1 situation, it makes you a lot stronger. And being able to take 1v1s, and if you win them, you'll get more gold by winning 1v1. So personally, I really like using Exhaust, and also Exhaust is really OP in the laning phase. But if you want to be greedy, another fantastic rune to run with Zeri is Ghost. So running Ghost, Flash will give you so much movement speed, so much control in team fights that you used to not have because you're so mobile. So it's a really fantastic rune to run on, fantastic spell to run on Zeri. But that is it for the loadout, and that is it for the video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, man. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this video. Make sure to sub up and like the video. If this video gets to 800 likes, I'll bring you guys another guide video just like this. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.